Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. It's Thursday. It's almost the weekend, so I'm excited.
So you have any big weekend plans?
Not really. I think I'm just gonna hang out with the family and catch up on some sleep, lazy stuff like that. What about you?
Pretty much the same. So I was on my way into the studio today and I was thinking to myself, how am I going to introduce this segment? And then it hit me. That's it. Welcome to The Angle. I'm your host, Jesse Walls.
And I'm your co-host, Emily Weston.
Our show is about different viewpoints, or angles, so to speak, on different concepts, ideas, and sometimes even controversial issues.
It's a show where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing. So you are going to love it.
Our first topic today is sleep deprivation.
That's quite a coincidence because I have been noticing you look pretty tired and stressed out, Jesse. You missing some sleep over there? Or?
It's press week here at CS Newsnet and it is very hectic. You know, a lot going on. Editors are putting in a lot of time. I'm putting in long hours, long nights, barely finding time to get any sleep.
Right, I can imagine. Just so much stress that goes on with that, I bet. Whenever I'm stressed out, it stresses my whole day. I can't function hardly. And I was actually online reading about stress the other day, and I read that stress affects the average college student's sleep more than alcohol, caffeine, late night texting, or Facebooking, which I don't know about you, Jesse, but I do tend to stay up late playing games on my phone or messaging a friend. So the fact that stress could cause me to lose more sleep than staying up late and using electronic devices is just really interesting and impacting on how I look at what I do and stuff and how it affects me.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to get to sleep when your mind is still wanting to, work out the problems from the day, or you're focused on something that happened or didn't go right or what you need to get done. Trying to wind down is almost difficult.
Right, exactly. WebMD.com states that chronic sleep deprivation has been linked to some serious problems like heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. It is also known to cause poor work performance, driving accidents, relationship problems, or mood problems such as anger or depression. And studies all show that getting enough sleep is important and vital to good health. I mean, Jesse, you probably know more than I do, but how much sleep should a person normally get? Especially a college student.
Most people, college age should be getting at least 8 hours of sleep, to ensure that you go through all, there's 5 different stages of sleep. REM is when you go into dream, I believe.
Right.
And it's very vital that you actually go through all these stages of sleep. So
I know it's important to get work done, but it's also important to get sleep as well. You have to enjoy yourself in life and you have to work hard. It's very important to have those two things balanced so that bad habits don't form like procrastination, which has been found in many recent studies to be heavily related to sleep deprivation.
Well, a lot of it is about time management and being able to, set schedules for yourself.
Which is perfect because that leads us to our second topic, which is time management and knowing how to manage your time wisely.
I wrote a column for the upcoming issue, which will be on newsstands tomorrow, on time management. So I was doing research, and one of the main things, you need to be able to do to manage your time is set goals. And I like the SMART goal system. If you've taken the lifetime wellness class, you probably recall this from your text. SMART is an acronym meaning, specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic, and time specific.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have never thought of that.
It's like, basically, to get something done, you've got to have a destination.
Right.
You've got to know where you're going. Or it'll be like the words of the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So having time-specific goals prevents you from procrastination. It gives you kind of a set time you need to get things done. But you also need to make them realistic so you're not loading on more than you can handle.
Interesting. I also feel as college students that knowing how to manage your time wisely will not only help you by giving you an advantage over the students that you're basically, competing with in college, but it also will help, like we said before, relieve stress that may not show up now, but in the future when you look back and see that you either have or haven't chosen to use your time effectively and wisely.
It's being able to prioritize, which is another, point I hit on in my article. You need to know, be able to decide what's important and urgent that needs to be done. Assignments, studying for exams, etc., as opposed to, like going to a party. Now, that doesn't exactly mean you want to eliminate a social life, and that's why time management is important, so you can maintain your GPA while still being able to work and still being able to have that social life. But you also need to be able to prioritize what is more important, what needs to come first. When do I have time for this? When do I have time for that?
Right, exactly. And I feel like prioritizing, not only does it help you get done what you need to get done, but it also, like you said, leaves room for things that are essential, like sleeping and eating. It's important for a college student to have a healthy lifestyle, as well as a hardworking one.
But let's face it, sometimes you have too much that needs to be done and you just don't have time for sleep.
Exactly, which is where, of course, caffeine, energy drinks comes into play. Students drink these things all the time, just trying to keep awake and to get what they need done.
And that brings us to our next topic, caffeine consumption.
Right, exactly. Caffeine, of course, this probably, Jesse, that it's a great way to keep somebody energized and awake, but what you probably didn't know is that it's also known for its bonus of boosting memory, improving concentration, and it's even known to perhaps lower the risks of disease such as Alzheimer's and liver cancer.
But did you know that caffeine is considered the most abused substance in America?
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed it, but I'm not surprised to hear that. There also are some cons, of course it could be abused, and experts say that caffeine withdrawals are an actual problem, which would make sense if it's being abused. Which brings me to the question, of course, Jesse, is how much is too much? How do you abuse caffeine? What is the limit?
Well, the max amount of caffeine a person should consume per day is roughly 400 milligrams.
Wow.
Did you know that just one 16-ounce NOS drink contains 160 milligrams of caffeine? That's almost half of the daily allowance.
That makes sense, and that would show how easily you can overdose, I guess you could say, in a way, on caffeine.
We actually have a empty can, of NOS here in the studio with us. And it gets its energy from complex 6, which is, caffeine, guarana, B12, B6, L-theanine, I think is how that's said, and taurine. So, it does have some health benefits there, but it's still got a major amount of caffeine.
Of course, and given the pros and cons of caffeine, we all know that college students are going to do what they're going to do to stay awake. So what would be, if I were to drink an energy drink, what would be the better out of all those ones out there?
I was looking at livestrong.com, and they actually had a list of energy drinks. And, of course, some of your more famous ones are like Rockstar and Monster. Rockstar, contains like ginseng, guarana, ginkgo, stuff like that to give it its energy boost. Whereas, Monster incorporates, again, the caffeine along with glucose and guarana. Guru energy drink was one that was recommended because it is, more of a herbal, organic energy drink. And so for people who are more health conscious, this is more preferred.
Right, that sounds good. Did you know that out of all those energy drinks out there, approximately 80% of caffeine is consumed in the form of coffee? That's pretty interesting that although we have all these different forms of drinks out there, coffee is still one of the most famous or common ones, I guess you could say.
That's because of Starbucks.
I love Starbucks.
So do I.
Also, according to an NPR article, 600 milligrams of coffee, or 6 cups of coffee, will cause negative cognitive effects in most people. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Just 6 cups of coffee could, you know, affect your thinking and your...
Lay you out.
Exactly.
There are nutritional alternatives to coffee and caffeine. Potassium, bananas, orange juice, even cantaloupes and watermelons contain a decent amount of potassium, which helps give you a boost, of energy, and helps, along with magnesium. Really great combination.
Exactly, which I think as college students you should also be aware of, as Jesse was just saying, that there's food that could be a great alternative to caffeine, which would be, like he said, bananas. I've looked up some lists. I also have pumpkin seeds on here, which contain protein, vitamins, healthy fats, and they're also full of, like he said, one of the good ones is magnesium. There's also beans, which, it's a lean protein, iron, B vitamins, amino acids, and it's also full of fiber, which slows down the digestion, giving your body a longer-term source of energy.
Blueberries as well. They're an antioxidant. They help give a boost of energy. I read an article in Men's Health a little while back, and it actually recommended that if you're going to be doing like a workout or like jogging of a morning, something like that, and you need a quick boost of energy to really get into your system, blueberries are definitely good to have. I start my mornings out with usually some sort of fruit, because apricots and peaches, they have a little bit of potassium and such, and
right.
Blueberries, most definitely, berries as a whole, and you can make smoothies if you're the type of person who's more into the drinks rather than the fruit.
Oh yeah, strawberry banana, my favorite flavor of all time.
And in strawberry banana, you get potassium, you get fiber, and all of these things are very good for energy. And for your health.
Exactly. It sounds good. I love all kinds of fruit, so it sounds like a great way to get that extra boost in the morning if you don't feel like guzzling a energy drink or a cup of coffee and having coffee breath all day or whatever.
Yeah, but caffeine or, alternatives can't make up for sleep. You need to be sure that you get that 8 hours of sleep so you're well rested, your body, your brain has time to recharge for the, next day, for what you have plan, what you need to get done, so you can stick with that schedule.
Exactly. I think they get it, Jesse. So, listeners, you've heard our thoughts on these 3 subjects. Now it's time to tell us yours. Are you affected by sleep deprivation? How do you manage your time wisely? And when it comes to caffeine, do you use it? Do you abuse it? Or do you have your own alternatives?
Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. That concludes our show for today. I'm Jesse Walls.
And I'm Emily Weston.
Signing off.
See you guys next time.